we're live, and I have to apologize. I've got a cold, so sorry for that. Uh, Clive will be coming on. He hasn't been on for a while because of conflicting schedule. And yeah, the title today is This Smells More Like a Currency Collapse Than a Bull Market in Precious Metals. And we're going to look at what I mean by that when Clive comes on. Of course, I'm a little early as usual. And yeah, so let's see who's here now. Yeah, there's quite a few of you waiting. It's one of the reasons I came out earlier. Yeah, Rudy is here. So yeah, my wife and I had a good trip, really nice trip to Venice. My birthday was on Friday, so yeah, we had a good time, and I think I got the cold there, probably on the plane or in Venice. It's very densely. The population there is only about 45,000, but all the tourists, yeah, there's a lot of tourists around, so probably easy to catch something. So let's see who's here after the gold rush is here. Tibbs Senior, Hio Silver Quadman 72 says good evening, Mario and Rudolph. Yeah, Rudolph the reindeer. That's why his name Rudolph. He was born on the 1st of December, and the breeder named him Rudolph. Andrew Bevan is here. Michael Kennedy. Echo, echo. Yeah, I do have a bit of a cold, unfortunately. Yeah, hopefully it will disappear soon. What do you think will happen to the pound? Well, uh, yeah, the pound is going to go down the drain, just like all other fiat currencies. We're going to look into that, and it's not just the pound. Winter Night says, Hi, Mario from Italy. Hope your vacation to Venice wasn't spoiled by the National General strike. No, we weren't affected by the strike. I heard there was a strike, but no, we left yesterday. We took a boat taxi from the hotel to the airport. It wasn't cheap, but yeah, it was really nice to travel on the lagoon to the airport. But we didn't have any disruptions, fortunately. Thank you, Echo Echo, for your birthday wishes, and Dutch Libertarian. Richard, to be true, says good morning. I guess you must be in Australia. Also, Mike Trillin, thank you for your super chat earlier. Yeah, I appreciate it. Jake Thomas, are we smelling the tail end of the bull market? What bull market? Um, you mean in the stock market? Yeah, please be specific. Biker Spill, hi Mary, you're the man. Been watching for many years. Hope you're good. Yeah, I'm fine except for a bit of a cold, but it's just a cold. It happens this time of the year. Mitzi Lorenz from London. Hi Mitzi. Yeah, I had when I was a little boy in Brazil, one of our neighbors, her name was Mitzi. Yeah, that's an interesting name. Papalpina, yeah, I'm fine except for the cold. Uh, how is real estate holding up in the UK? Uh, well, I think it's coming off a little bit, like in central London, the wealthier, the high end market is coming off. But apart from that, I think it's holding up for now. Jane DR says, Hello, Mario. Great to see you and Rudy. Chris Conman is here. Hi, Chris. Hi, Mary Chapman. Jock Mahan. Why does the UK government have a funding black hole when they have 900 billion in US treasuries? Well, th those treasuries are held. I think more by financial institutions, so not by the government. That's yeah, that's how it works. When it says the UK has 900 billion treasures, it means all the UK financial institutions. They are yeah, they've put a lot of and I think a lot of that money is offshore money, like that is actually money and capital owned by offshore hedge funds based in the Cayman Islands and places like that. Hi Mario. 3,000 pound gold by week's end. I can't tell you when, but exactly, but yeah, before the end of the year, I think we should see 3,000 pound gold. I think right now we're at 2,885 or thereabouts. Echo says thanks for the show about the pocketbook of gold. I intend to buy the PDF, and yeah, I thought he was going to publish the book, but he's doing the PDF, which is better than nothing. He said he had to hire a lawyer because some people had stolen the book and put it on a PDF, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. Excuse me. Hi, love button. Nice to see you here. Jason Lebrec, you ready for the cold beer? Clive is ready to roll. He's not here yet. He should be here soon. Francine Cook, how's golf? Golf. I'm not sure what that means. Um, will there be a depression? Joe Brown asks. I think we've been in a depression since the '08 crisis. To be honest, the only reason it doesn't look like a depression is that the major governments of the West have been running huge budget deficits. So it's masked the decline of the economies, really, and that includes the U.S. as well. David Bridge, what's your favorite silver to stack? Well, I like all kinds of silver. I like numismatic silver coins, which is different, but for investment purpose here in the UK, 1 ounce Britannias. Yeah, they are the best because they don't incur capital gains tax. So yeah, that's the one. But I've got many different kinds. Like I've got on my desk here a 10 ounce Engelhard bar. And actually, I found a really good coin shop in Venice, in St. Mark's Square, and I bought a couple of old silver coins, like a mark, a Reichsmark 5 mark coin, silver coin from 1936, with the President von Hindenburg on it. It's 90% silver, and also a Austro-Hungarian 1 florin coin from 1861. So I like those kind of coins too. Uh, Oh, Dutch Libertarian says garlic is garlic fermented in honey might work for flu. Shenzuen pepper can help foo or cayenne pepper. Oh, I see. I see. Uh, Terry O'Neill, why shouldn't you polish your silver coins? The numismatic ones, the collector's coins, yeah, that's not done. People prefer it to be in its original state. It takes the value out of them if you polish them. But if they're just bullion coins, you can do it, I would say. Where do you buy your coins? Usually from Gold Investments. They are the people I'm affiliated with here in the UK. But like I said, I was in Venice and I bought a couple of coins. When I was in Switzerland as well, I went to a coin dealer. Yeah, so it varies. Frank Brown says, Hi, Mara. Thanks to you, the profit on my gold and silver I purchased 3 years ago paid for my new car, my caravan in Wales, plus the caravan fees for the past 3 years as well. So thanks again. Well, I'm glad I could have, I was of help. Um, Rue Stanley, Rafi from the End Game suggests 15,000 in physical gold and silver per person. Do you agree? Um, it depends. I mean, if you're a multi-billionaire, that's nothing. If you are like yeah, it depends on the person's financial standing, how much you've been able to save. So, yeah, I'm not sure that's a good number for everyone. There are some people, unfortunately, who can't uh, save that much, and there are some people who can put a lot more into it. One thing I would say right now, um, silver has more potential than gold, but it doesn't mean to say you shouldn't have gold either. Golden Sun, thank you for your super chat from Ann Arbor, Michigan, A2. I know that now. I didn't know that a few months ago before you told me what it meant. 1964 Gold Sovereign. Yeah, I have some of those. Um, they're quite plentiful. I think that 64 Sovereign. Oh yeah, Rudy just jumped off. He's on the floor right now. Uh, Captain Scarlet. No, I don't have a view on titanium. Yeah, I haven't looked into titanium. I focus more on the monetary metals, gold and silver. Some people think platinum might be interesting too, but I don't really follow that. Yeah, Donna Weber, I've got a bit of a cold. Yeah, it's fine. Ounces, thank you for your super chat. Silver is now trading at a higher price per ounce than the ounces of gold stated on the US balance sheet. We're overdue for a revaluation. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? That's a good point. Uh, Clive is here. I'll just let him in into the meeting. Hi, Clive.
Hello, good evening, Mario. Long time no see.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
I went on holiday and then you went on holiday, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I've got a bit of a cold. Yeah. Are you going on holiday soon or
Yeah, well, we've got another school holiday coming up, so I'll be away. I'll be away at least for a next meeting or two. But yeah, so Mario, where were you staying?
we went to Venice.
Lovely. Oh, yes, I've been to Venice. All the houses are on stilts, aren't they?
They are, and they're petrified wood because they put it in the sand and there's no oxygen. So over the centuries, it just becomes really hard, and that's why it becomes like petrified. And the wood is from the Dolomites. That's where they got it from, which is I think Venice at one point they controlled that region as well, the mainland. So they used to bring the wood from there. It's quite an amazing place. Have you
It
been
did. Yeah, I've been to Venice a few times. The only way to get around was by boat
by
or
boat
what
or walk?
gondola.
Yeah, we didn't take the gondola, but we took a boat. We went to Murano where they make the glass. And we walked a lot. There's a lot of I think there's 400 and over 400 bridges in Venice. So, quite interesting place. Clive, the title for the live stream today is This Smells More Like a Currency Collapse Than a Bull Market in Precious Metals. And the reason I'm saying this is because I hear a lot of people I've been hearing forever for the last few months that people are expecting a correction in gold and it doesn't happen. And that's why I'm asking myself, do you really want to take profit, let's say, of your in your physical gold and silver to go back into a currency or currencies, all currencies really are going down. Do you really want to do that and put your gold back into dying fiat currencies, the dollar included? For the miners, I would say it's a little different. You can take profit and then maybe reinvest your profit into physical gold and silver. Or you might want to get rid of your gold and silver if you need have an emergency. But all in all, I think yeah, technicals are important, but I think this is looks really ominous. Some people are saying that it's either a sign of hyperinflation or it could even be war. So, what do you think, Clive?
Well, historically, gold has never run in a straight line, and this time is a bit of an exception. It seems to be every week it just heads up. Obviously, we've had our odd day, but what I've noticed is every time there's a little bit of a pullback, people step in thinking, I missed it all this way. I can't miss it this time. And they're buying each pullback. And what that indicates to me is that there's now an army of people out there who would have liked to buy it at the old price. They missed the boat, so they're waiting for the pullback. But the minute it pulls back, they feel they're in some kind of competition with everybody else who's in the same situation as them. So it's the question of who blinks first. So when the silver or the gold price goes down, it doesn't stay down very long, and then it starts to creep up, and then they say, "Oh my God, it's not going down anymore," and they rush in. So my feeling is we're in a new era now. It seems crazy to say that it should just keep going up in a straight line every week, and I still don't believe that's going to happen. But it is what has been happening for some months now, and yeah, it's unusual. But what's going on, as you say, Mario, it is a collapse in the currency which is going on. There's a rising distrust of holding dollars, or for that matter, any Western currency for the long run. And I think there's two reasons for that. One, related to Western currencies in general, that they're seeing that the governments are now in a situation where they're unable to raise enough taxes to balance the budgets. But the second and more important thing is related specifically to the dollar. There's this growing unease about holding dollars because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We've had a non-stop series of surprises with tariffs, with threats to the enemies of the state, all kinds of things going on, left, right, and centre, and we don't know what announcement might come out of the woodwork tomorrow. So I think people are saying I can't keep, traditionally if I had dollars, it'd be fine next year, it'd be fine in 5 years. Now they're saying I'm not even sure if it's going to be fine tomorrow, and they're starting to move.
Yeah, the other thing, Clive, and I recommend people read this book, When Money Dies by Adam Ferguson. This is about the period after World War One where you had the German hyperinflation. And I've spoken about this over the years because I even have hyperinflation files in my one of my playlists. And there are symptoms to hyperinflation. And like you mentioned, people are not confident that the governments can pay the interest on their debt, and that one day, if investors don't want to buy new debt, they can't roll over the old debt, and that's the end. But also, I think people are losing the general public. They're losing faith and confidence in their leaders as well. There's a lot of division within countries. Unfortunately, I think the symptoms of hyperinflation are huge, and they've got nothing to do with no, normal cost push inflation. It's more when people lose confidence in the currency. And I'm going to bring up these two charts here, and I've been speaking about this for quite a while now, and I've called it a disturbing resemblance. Excuse me. That cold. And this is the map of value of one gold mark in paper marks during the Weimar hyperinflation. And this is what's called a fractal. because it looks like the same kind of wave formation, but it's over a longer period, the one that we've got here now for the dollar. But ever since we broke this level here, Clive, this barrier, this is a monthly chart. It does look pretty much like a straight line. I mean, last week, I think we had a day where gold and silver went down quite sharply. But then if you look at the weekly chart, it doesn't look like anything happened. So, yeah, I think we are, I don't know, around here in terms of that.
Yeah.
So,
I saw that day when the gold and silver went down. I thought, oh, you know what? The bull market in gold and silver, maybe it's popped, maybe, and then the next day it turns around and shoots
yeah,
back up. And it was actually, it started going back up almost in the middle of the night.
yeah. And the thing is, this period of the year, right now, beginning of October, is when they have the Chinese, is it called the Golden Week in China?
Oh, yes, yes.
And usually the guys on Comex sell gold and silver in the beginning of October, but they haven't been able to do that. And China is coming back online, I think Thursday. So, Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Says, Clive, I hear that Switzerland recently passed a digital ID law. Did you get yours yet? Your thoughts on them?
Well, I voted against it. We had a referendum a week ago where we had to vote on that, and the Switzerland was fairly divided. With one half of Switzerland, the German part, pretty much against it, and the French-speaking part, in favour of it. Now, I'm in the French-speaking part. I voted against, but unfortunately, it looks like the majority were in favour of this. So the government now will proceed over time with some sort of digital ID. I don't think it's terribly different from an identity card, but they say what this is going to do for us, and here's the government pitching their point of view, not my point of view. They're saying it will allow you to verify your identity with financial institutions and other organizations in a reliable and safe way. Now, that's kind of their pitch as to why everyone should have a digital ID. But I don't much like the idea. I mean, we've all got IDs, but it's a plastic card called an
Yeah,
ID card.
yeah, I know. I mean, here in the UK, they're pushing a lot for that. I'm not sure the British public is for it on the whole, but I don't think we're going to have a referendum on it. They
But
really
you don't even have ID cards in the UK, do you?
no. You have a driver's license if you drive, but some people don't have driver's license nor passports. You're not required to have anything because the tradition in England is that unless you do something wrong, they have to leave you alone. That's the common law.
So in Switzerland, from the day you're born, whether you like it or not, you do get an ID card, and that does include foreigners as well, at least foreigners who are resident here. So there's no getting away from the fact you everybody already has a number, and to be honest with you, you can't do anything if you don't have your ID card. If you want to rent an apartment or get a job, it's one of those mandatory documents you have to present.
Yeah, I think when I lived in Switzerland, I have a B permit, which is the one you get before the C permit. But I don't think they required an ID at the time. I didn't have an ID. I had the B permit. That was about it.
Yeah, back then it would have been a paper ID certificate. Now it's plastic.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, I wanted to oh yeah, Clive, we're talking about hyperinflation and actually I prefer that we have hyperinflation to war because hyperinflation doesn't last very long. In Germany, the hyperinflation picked up as you can see by that let's see. Have I still got that? Well, I'll bring that back up, but the currency really started collapsing in 1922 in the summer, and by the end of 23, it was finished. So it doesn't last very long. It is damaging, of course, but it's better than war, in my opinion. And I just hope that we get hyperinflation instead of war. But I asked ChatGPT I said, what were the best performing investments during the Weimar hyperinflation in Germany from 1921 to 23? Um, so foreign currencies, it says best performer overall, and the reason why foreign currencies were the best performers is because they were still gold backed. Um, so yeah, right now there's no currency that's gold backed. So I would say foreign currencies are not going to work today because all currencies are like the Reichsmarks today. But it says here the dollar, which was was good as gold back then, rose from 4.2 marks to 4.2 trillion marks by 1923. So a person holding $1 in 1914 could buy a house in Berlin by 1923. What about real assets, land, real estate, farmland? Property owners preserved and even increased their relative wealth. Real assets retain intrinsic values. Rents uh, became worthless in paper marks, but the underlying property survived the crisis. After stabilization, real estate owners could reprice in their new Rentenmark, which was supposedly backed by gold. And it says farmland was especially valued because it produced food, another scarce tradable commodity. Industrial equities, especially export-oriented firms. And I would say now, Clive, because all fiat currencies are well, all currencies are fiat currencies. I think the miners are going to be like the new banks. They're going to provide the real money. So, but industrial companies do well because they have tangible assets, as it says here. So BASF, Siemens, IG Farben, and of course precious metals. Gold coins and jewelry function as parallel money. Gold became the most trusted store of value and medium of exchange. Many Germans bartered gold for food, rent, or clothing. So, many people say, oh, you can't eat gold, but in the hyperinflation, you can, or even silver for that matter. Um,
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that if we get into an environment where people don't want to take the old fiat money, they will have learned extremely quickly what the value of gold and silver is.
yeah,
To be honest with you, today almost nobody can tell you the price of gold or silver unless they happen to be in the financial markets. Of course, all your viewers can do that because they're very switched on. But the vast majority, I'll ask in the chat, do any of your viewers have friends who could tell them the price of silver today? I doubt it.
yeah, I doubt it too. Commodities and tangible goods, so not surprising there. Are antiques and collectibles. Yeah, they're, wealthy individuals shifted into portable, non-perishable assets. And I agree with that. They might not be as liquid as gold and silver during the hyperinflation, but in the aftermath, they hold their value. But here's the really important ones for me, because they're the people who are going to lose out, and it's mostly, it says here, middle class savers, you see, who trust the currency, who trust the banks, who trust the national pensions and stuff. It says here, cash savings completely destroyed, government bonds worthless, denominated in marks, fixed income instruments or pensions wiped out. And also, I heard of insurance like instruments that one guy said his father bought an insurance like policy for him when he was young so that he could go to university. And when he came back from the war, World War I, the insurance paid off after this episode, and he could only pay for a lunch instead of his
Well,
university.
I can sympathize with that, Mario. When my father bought his first house, which would have been in 1952 or thereabouts, he took out an insurance policy known as a whole life policy to cover the cost of the mortgage, which I think was about £1,000 at the time. And he paid the premiums on this insurance policy throughout his entire life. And when he died at the age of 98 years old, we collected the £1,000 life insurance policy. But you can imagine back then, this when he took it out, this life insurance policy was worth the price of a house.
Yeah, I know. I've looked at the average house price back then. It was around 2 to 3 thousand pounds. Greg O'Neill, thank you for your super chat. Evening, gents. Question for Clive. I'm thinking of buying some vaulted silver in Switzerland to avoid UK VAT. Is the Swiss company Gold Avenue a reputable, reliable company in your opinion?
Well, I can't comment specifically on Gold Avenue because I don't actually, I've never heard of it. But it, in general, the companies in Switzerland which sell gold and vault it for you, they are safe. But what you need to do is go to Trustpilot or Google, what they call it, Google reviews, and just see what other people say, and just check that it is properly regulated with a
Yeah.
Swiss regulator. But in general, I don't think there's going to be anything to worry about, and there's more than one firm you can choose to vault your silver with if you want to buy it VAT free.
Yeah, one thing I would say, Greg, I've always paid the VAT and I don't mind paying the VAT because eventually it won't really matter. Like I bought silver in 2003 at just over £3 an ounce, and I paid VAT on it, but now that VAT seems irrelevant. And the problem with buying VAT-free silver in Switzerland is that you're not buying coins of the realm, or i.e. silver Britannias. So yeah, you're gonna save on the VAT, but you're gonna be liable for capital gains tax here in the UK. So that's all I would say about that.
I mean, I've been buying coins, physical coins, for donkey's years, and I've always paid the VAT to have the physical delivery. Every single coin where I paid the VAT is worth a lot more, except for the ones I bought last week. But broadly speaking, all the ones I bought in the last 5 years, for example, are worth a lot more than the price I paid, including the VAT and including the premium. Because you mustn't forget, when you buy a physical coin, you'll also pay, depending on the quality of the coin and the style and how the rarity and other things, you'll also pay a premium over and above the value of the silver.
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah. Sorry, Clive. Yeah.
well, yeah,
No,
plus the VAT, I was going to say.
the premium is just the dealers. They need to make a living. It's like when you buy a new car, that dealer probably bought the car, let's say, for £30,000 from the manufacturer, and he'll sell it to you for 33,000. So to stay in business. Yeah, that's what I would say. I wouldn't worry about the VAT. I've never really worried about the VAT. Frank Kavija, thank you for your super chat. Says thank you, Mario and Clive. Another super chat here. Where is it? Uh, Richard, to be true. Thank you, Richard. Will silver become an unofficial currency, and can it work without better organized coin denominations? I'll answer it first, Clive, and then I'll let you answer. I think it will become an official currency, like Clive said earlier, when people are desperate for when the currency doesn't buy anything anymore and confidence has been lost, people learn very quickly. And, people will learn about the weight, about the purity, just like I have in the last 23 odd years. I can tell, what a coin is worth in terms of weight and the purity, and I'm sure people will work out. I saw a video recently, Clive, in Venezuela, where there's a supermarket you can pay with grams of gold, and they calculate everything, and people are really they know exactly what the price is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. We live in a world in the West here, in UK or Switzerland or America, where most of your viewers are, in fact, which is a nice, stable world, relatively speaking, compared with many parts of the world where the currencies have already gone to pot. Venezuela would be a good example. And in those countries, people quickly learn how to deal with alternatives to the national currency. Now, traditionally, that's been the US dollar, but will that be the case if people start to distrust the dollar more?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I grew up in Brazil, and in the 80s, the currency collapsed a few times. But if you had dollars, you were fine. But if the dollar goes, yeah, I have a feeling that people in a lot of these countries, like Brazil and other countries, uh, if they don't hold gold, they're going to be in trouble. So because when the dollar goes, everything will go. Um, Mira Z or Zed, thank you for your super chat. Do you think Switzerland is a safe jurisdiction? They are aligning quickly with the EU. I'll let Clive answer that first, and then I'll give my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see any danger in Switzerland. The Swiss banks are very safe. They're private banks. They don't lend their money, your money, to anybody else. At least if you're with a private bank, that is, not if you're with a clearing bank. Yeah, very safe place. Politically safe. There's so many political parties. Nobody can even tell you who the president is. Although even I should know that, and I've forgotten it. But you know, it's a multi-party state. It's not dominated by a single left or right party, and the crime levels are extremely low. The standard of living is extremely high. Healthcare system is absolutely brilliant. So I would say, in terms of safety, it's very, very high. But there are other safe places on the planet, which would perhaps include Monaco or Singapore.
Yeah, no, I agree with Clive. I think, yeah, Switzerland's still quite stable, but it could be better. I think someone was telling me, a Swiss guy, that in 1992 Switzerland joined the IMF, and it was one of the reasons why they made them sell half their gold. So that was unfortunate, but it's in relative terms, the Swiss franc is the best really performing fiat currency versus gold, even though that's also Clive. I see that gold has gone above 3,000 francs, so there's no escape.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the Swiss franc against the dollar, literally in I don't know, it's 20 or 30 years, it's literally doubled in value, or rather, the dollar has halved in value. And we all thought the dollar was the strongest currency in the world, but
Yeah,
obviously, it's been well and truly smashed by the Swiss franc's performance.
I remember in the 70s when we started going to Switzerland, it was $1 was or 3 francs. And when I left in the early 90s, it was still a dollar was a franc 60. And now what a dollar is like well, no, yeah, a dollar is only 80 centimes, right? Around there.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's about 80 centimes. I remember that going back about 4 or 5 years ago, I bought a painting from somebody. He kind of put up to an auction, but like not an official, an unofficial auction. And I got the winning bid, and I happened to pay for it the same price as he had paid in London for the same painting. I paid the same price in Swiss francs at the current exchange rate as he paid in London. So he paid 750 Swiss francs, and I paid, let's say, 900. He paid 750 pounds in London in 1975, and I paid 950 francs or thereabouts, which was roughly the exchange rate for the 1975 price. But the difference, the point was, when I looked up the exchange rate in 1975, there was something like 12 Swiss francs to the pound. So if I'd paid him what he paid for it, really, I would have had to pay him nearly 12 times as much, or 10 times as much.
Dutch Libertarian is asking you, Clive, what do you think about the Swiss franc pegged to the euro? He says, I think it is a risk for Switzerland. Well, it used to be pegged to the euro, and then there was a huge unpegging crisis,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So Switzerland was pegged to the euro, where 1 franc 20 would buy you €1, and €1 would buy you 1 franc 20. So it's a fixed rate, and that lasted for a number of years, right through to I think it was 2015. I speak from memory. And then one day, in the middle of the trading hours, the Swiss government, or rather not the government, the central bank said, we're not going to peg it anymore. And immediately the Swiss franc soared, or put it another way, the euro collapsed. It soared from 1 Swiss franc buying €1.20 to only 80 cents buying €1.20. In other words, the euro had gone down and the Swiss franc went up. And there were large numbers of people who were at the wrong end of that on the foreign exchange markets and who were at the wrong end of it on the contract for difference markets. It's who literally got wiped. They had huge claims from the brokers because they hadn't got the margin in place to meet the loss that they just made.
Well, here it is, Clive. They pegged it here. I think 1 franc was about 80, 82 euro cents. And then they unpegged it and it went through the roof, the Swiss franc.
Yep.
And now it's, yeah, it's almost, but I still think
No,
probably
higher than ever.
yeah, I still think the central bank in Switzerland, it probably would be even higher. I think they probably do a lot of interference, don't they?
Well, you're getting negative rates of return now on your deposits.
Yeah.
So uh, any bank who sees somebody with a large cash balance is basically saying to them, do something with it, use one of our investment services, or we're going to charge you
Yeah.
for having your money.
And let's have a look at a little bit at silver because on Friday I saw that silver was trading above 48. And then it closed. Look at it. It closed. I'm going to bring the chart up. It closed at 47.99, the spot price. Because I tweeted, I said, if it closed above 48, it would be the first time in history that it's a weekly close above that level. But actually, it's the highest weekly close ever, even at 47.99. I think here, Clive, in April 2011, well, that was let's do a weekly one and stretch the chart.
I mean, the physical gold and physical silver markets are tiny relative to the size of one of the big
Yeah.
tech companies in the United States, like Amazon or Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
So it only takes a small amount of money coming out of these tech stocks and into the gold market or the silver market for it to move. And I think whilst we're not seeing any decline in the tech stocks at the moment, I think there's a little bit of money coming off the edges as people say, there's something else I've got to put in the portfolio. I've done
Yeah.
very nicely thanks to the tech stocks, but what if, what's moving? Oh, yes, gold is moving. Oh, yes, silver's moving. I'll have some of that. I can always get rid of it by the end of the year if it goes down,
Yeah.
but my client might be asking me about it, so I better get some.
So like, yeah, okay. April 25th week, 2011, the close was 47.90. So yeah, we beat that by 9 cents this past week. And talking about like because I think Clive, a lot of the people buying gold now are the big money, the central banks. I think the public's still not involved. But I saw a post on X, and I'll bring it up here for you guys now, about, I think about, let's see, about, it says here 39% of fund managers uh, will be unemployed soon. 39% of fund managers have a 0% allocation to gold per Bank of America. I mean, yeah, I think you've said that in the past, haven't you, Clive? That a lot of people who have their money with these fund managers are going to say, "How come you didn't have any gold?" Right? And they're going to be forced to start looking at gold, right?
Well, yes and no. I attended an investment conference a couple of weeks ago, at which various banks were speaking, and these were the chief investment officers of a number of different banks, and some of them, one of them, I happen to know this bank very well, was saying, yes, gold is the best performing asset this year, and we've been recommending gold. We got it in our portfolios, da da da. Then I go and look at my discretionary portfolio with that particular bank, and it's got a negative return and no gold.
Really, boy.
So that's not me, that's them.
Yeah.
So they're using the right words, saying we put gold into the portfolios, but the reality is they haven't done it.
Yeah, well, they're lying then, I guess. Ounces, thank you for your super chat. And Ounces says if you're looking to keep track of your precious metals, Ounces supports 13 global currencies, including Swiss francs. Yeah, I have the Ounces app, so you can put how many ounces of gold, silver. There's platinum and palladium as well. And it updates, yeah, 24/7, except on weekends when the market shuts.
I mean, I think Revolut, you could, I don't know if it's the same thing, but on Revolut, you could buy gold and silver too, as far as I know. Well, I have, no, I have actually
Well,
bought some gold on Revolut.
at ounces, you don't buy gold and silver. It's just like you you
Oh,
you put, let's say you have 10 Krugerrands, 1 ounce Krugerrand gold coins. You can just put there 10 ounces. And as the price changes, it tells you how much you have in fiat. And he's got 12 currencies. It's just to keep track of your stack.
so if you don't buy them, where do you get them from?
Well, no, it's just for you to keep track of the gold that you've bought.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. You can, oh, if you got it, you got physically at home, you can
Yeah,
say, I own this, I own that. I got it.
yeah, yeah, and you just put it there. I think it's a good way so you can know in how much you have in fiat. So yeah,
I do all that on an Excel spreadsheet.
yeah. Well, you can do that too. I have a, I have a Revolut card, and that the last time I used it was 2019 when I went to Florence. And ever since then, I hadn't used it. I kept getting emails from them that I had to give some information, and I always ignored it. But then I decided a few months ago to get the account going again and actually use it in Venice. It's quite good because the exchange rates are very tight. They don't rip you off when you put money from pounds into euros.
Except don't change your money at the weekend. Change it on a weekday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you do get a wider spread. The funny thing was with Revolut, I didn't know that I'd bought gold. I bought gold some years ago with my card and had forgotten about it. And I was scrolling around my card and thought, oh, commodities, click on that. Oh, I've got some gold. 89% profit, it said.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I have to look, but yeah.
So very happy that I obviously had completely forgotten that I'd bought gold with Revolut
You can
donkeys years
buy
ago.
cryptocurrencies there too, can't you?
Yeah, yeah, I also found some Bitcoin, which was quite lucky.
Yeah.
So that was worth a lot more too.
Clive, I was looking at this article in the Telegraph. Apparently, this is not certain. I read the article. The U.S. Mint might mint a $1 Trump coin for next year for the 250th anniversary of American independence. But it's weird because there's a law that says you can only have a president on the coin if he's been dead for at least 2 years. So it reminded me because I've been reading this book here, Moneta, about the coins of Rome, and that the first a person in Rome or a leader in Rome to have their face on a coin while alive. The first one was Julius Caesar, who was, of course, a dictator. So, yeah, I'm not sure this is the right thing to do.
Well, I look at this picture of the coin. It does not say either "In God We Trust." Oh, yes, it does say "In God We
Yeah,
Trust," but it doesn't say $1 or $2. Oh, it does actually. Yeah, I see. There's a big black $1 sign on it there. I
yeah.
didn't see that. Yes.
Or to,
So it would if that's genuine, they're going to have a $1 sign. Then it's a coin of the realm. In which case, yeah, they can't put the Trump's image on it yet.
yeah, yeah, or they might change the law for it, which I think would be wrong anyway. Uh, and I think it would annoy a lot. It wouldn't annoy me, but I think a lot of Americans wouldn't be very happy with having him on the coin. It would divide people even more.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's on the coin, you'd want it to be the coin at least to be made of something tangible as opposed to copper nickel, which isn't worth
Yeah,
much at all.
be nice and silver. Uh,
Yeah, I would. Would you buy it if it's a silver Mario?
yeah, I don't care who.
Okay. Yeah, because you can always melt it down, and then it's not him anymore.
Yeah, I think I've got it here. I mean, Andy Scheckman gave me a 1 ounce silver bar with a picture of Trump in the back with that fight, fight, fight.
Mm.
So I've got that. It's an ounce of silver when I was in the States. Oh, I wanted to talk about this, Clive, because I think this is quite important. Might seem boring, Japanese politics, right? But Japan gears up for Takaichi trade as first female leader prepares for power. So this is the new prime minister. Her name is what's her name? uh, Sanai Takaichi, and I was reading about her, and she's a proponent of Abenomics, and what Abenomics basically is like massive deficit spending and government spending, uh, QE by the central bank, and a weak yen. So it's going to be, and it could lead to even higher JGB yields. So I think tomorrow morning could be an interesting, we could see an interesting development in the JGBs.
Well, Japan has no choice now. It's got to, at some point, print enough money to finance the national debt. So it's got to print at a faster rate than that debt is growing. So I think she's probably going to do the right thing. Of course, it will be down the line, destructive of the Japanese yen,
Yeah,
but I don't see a choice.
yeah. And here's the price of of gold in Japanese yen. I mean, I've been keeping track of this for years, and we're almost at 600,000. And
Yes.
back in let's say this is when Abe took over, 2013. It
Hmm.
took a while for it to go up, but it's back in during the '08 crisis, we're at 62,000 yen. Now it's almost 600,000. So I think it's gonna continue. And I saw some posts on X that some Japanese precious metals dealer have had to like stop the sale of some gold and silver uh, bars because there's so much demand for it. So I think it's a worldwide event.
Somebody wrote to me on LinkedIn and said that he had heard that the Perth Mint had run out of silver bars. But when I tried to verify that, I couldn't find
Yeah.
any proof of it either way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those stories, they come up. I think the best thing really is to keep an eye on the price, and I think this coming week could be when we bust bust through that 50 level, which has been the limit for since 1980.
I've got something I'd like to read to your viewers, Mario.
Yeah,
Um, this is from artificial intelligence, but it is quite relevant to what's going on in the world today.
yeah,
And I'll read it to you. It says, history offers a clear and consistent message. Governments, when faced with overwhelming debt and deficits, will not hesitate to sacrifice the value of their currency and the savings of their citizens. This can be done slowly and insidiously through inflation and currency debasement, or quickly and brutally through defaults, bail-ins, and demonetization events. So there you have it. We're now in that situation where many governments are facing overwhelming debt and deficits, and the question is how are they going to set it right? And the way it gets set right is not by saving the citizen. It's not going to be saving the man in the street.
and I think what gold and silver are telling us is that this process is not going to be gradual anymore. And if you don't have some gold and silver, and if you don't have hard assets and the assets we were talking about earlier, you're going to be wiped out. And yeah,
Well, this is exactly what the artificial intelligence article carries on by saying. It says hard assets,
Yeah.
and I read it word for word because it's not me saying it's AI. A significant portion of your portfolio should be allocated to tangible assets that cannot be created out of thin air. This includes real estate, especially productive agricultural land, precious metals, with a primary focus on gold and other physical commodities. There you are. That's what it says. And um, I don't know if anyone believes what ChatGPT says, or this wasn't ChatGPT, it was another AI, but
Yeah.
that's what an AI actually says.
I agree with that. And Vince Lancy yesterday he posted Trump said America can grow its way out of debt. What it really means is debasement. And then he put the price of all things will go up as the spending bubble is encouraged. Yeah, I think this is what will happen to your savings if you leave them in government bonds, dollars, and yeah, and other insurance policies and pension plans. I
Well,
mean,
I read another line just on that particular point, Mario.
yeah.
It says minimal cash holdings. Keep only enough cash in the local currency for your immediate liquidity needs. And here's the brilliant bit: cash is a melting ice cube in an inflationary environment. How about that? Cash is a melting ice cube. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Ounces, thank you for your super chat. He says Costco is sold out of most of their gold and silver. Chris Conman, thank you for the super chat again. Who hurts when the price of gold goes up? Um, I don't think anyone gets hurt per se, but what it means is that the fiat currency is getting debased. So yeah, the middle class, yeah, it's the middle class that gets hurt, and also the people below middle class, and even people with above middle class, if they haven't looked after if they've got too much in cash savings, they're going to get hurt. And anyone that holds a lot of savings in the currency, like in bank deposits, government bonds, they're going to get trounced.
I can imagine the disappointment of someone who turns up at Costco having made up their mind to buy their first ounce of gold, only to discover it's completely sold out because someone got there before them.
Yeah. What do you think about what Chris said? He asked who
Who
gets
hurts?
in the hyperinflation or when gold goes up.
Well, obviously, the people who don't own gold
Yeah.
are seeing a devaluation of what they got left.
Yeah.
If you've got gold, you've got nothing to worry about. If
No.
you don't have gold, you're watching the value of your fake money, your fiat money, go
Yeah.
down in real buying power.
And what we have to be prepared for as well is that they're going to blame the people who own gold for the crisis, even though it's not it wasn't us who created the crisis, it was the governments and the central banks by creating too much currency and credit out of thin air. But
Oh,
that,
by the way, I had a boating accident. I've lost it all.
yeah, you can say that too. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a good way to hide your assets, especially here in the UK, Clive, where they're talking about more taxes in the November budget.
Well, when the USA passed the law in 1933 that everyone had to hand in almost all of their gold except for I think it was $100 worth they're allowed to keep. Um, I think three-quarters of the gold, which was supposed to have come back, didn't come back.
No, I think they only got like a quarter. I think it was John Anderson from I forgot his handle. SD Bullion, he did a research and said that they only really got a quarter of the gold. And I think a lot of the very wealthy people connected, they were given a heads up and they moved all their gold to Switzerland some months before. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, funny enough, when I was in, I think it was Cron, Montana, I was knocking on the door of a second-hand shop. They were selling handbags and ladies' garments, luxury handbags and ladies' garments second-hand. And I said to her, "Do you have any gold or silver coins?" And she said, "No, I don't actually sell any, but try the watch shop next door." So I went next door to the watch shop, and sure enough, he brought her a tray of 12 American double eagles. These are the gold coins from before 1933. They're worth 20 or were worth $20 each. And although he was Swiss, his great grandfather or something behind him had been an American, and somehow he wouldn't have been allowed to keep 12 of these coins. That would have been illegal. But somehow these coins had left America at some point, found their way to Switzerland. Now they're in the hands of the grandson. And I managed to buy one. I bought several actually, but I said, "How much do you want?" And he said 2,000 Swiss francs, which was a fair price at the time. It was maybe 100 francs more, 150 francs more than the gold price. So I took two. And then I rang a friend and said, "Look what I've got. You've got these really old 1800 double eagles." And my friend said, "Oh, buy me one." So I went back to the shop the next day and said, "Can I buy two more?" And he was very, very reluctant, but he sold me the next two. And then he said to me, he said, "Look, that's it. You're not buying any more. I'm not selling them."
Yeah.
So he was
Mike,
quite adamant that he wanted to keep the rest.
Mike Eagle. Hi guys. Mario, is it better to own gold sovereigns rather than Britannia's due to the confiscation risk? Well, I'm not sure they're going to confiscate gold here in the UK because gold sovereigns and Britannia's are coins of the realm. But if they were to confiscate them, I don't think it would matter if you have sovereigns or Britannia's. They would come after both. Uh, any view on that, Clive?
Well, I have a personal preference for the sovereigns because they're the most widely known coin in the world. And also the old ones with Queen Victoria on and so forth. They're dated. They look beautiful. I love the old ones myself, and I've got a few. But the reason I love them so much is the first ever gold coin I got was from my grandfather he must have given it to me when I was around 14 years old, I think. And he said to me, "Don't ever tell anybody." And keep it forever. Well, I've still got that one today, plus some others I bought now. They're beautiful coins. So sovereigns all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Clive, and the viewers, I wanted to show you something, and this might actually trigger Rudy because when he hears this, he kind of goes crazy. But this is, I'm going to share it with you guys. This was back in June, Clive, and silver was at $36. And I asked Rudy the question. Rudy, are you bullish silver? Should we buy silver? Do you want to buy silver? Rudy, do you think silver is going up? Yes? You think we should we buy silver? Is silver going to 50? So there you go. Rudy, are you bullish silver? Let me Should we just buy silver? Let me just Do you want to buy silver? Oh boy. Rudy?
Well, your dog is worth a lot of money if he's got that power of prediction.
Well,
You have to
say
watch out, Mario. Someone will be after him.
I did say it was an investment advice. He heard it here now, so he's come over. There you go, Rudy. Is silver going to $100, Rudy? I asked him earlier today, and he barked again, so he thinks it's going to 100.
Well, if he's right, your dog will be very much in demand by the specialists.
Yeah. Anyway, we got 10 minutes, Clive. Billy Bullion would agree. Oh yeah, Billy, he used to he was to be a silver bull too. Rudy wants to buy dog biscuits. China killed diamonds too. What does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a problem with diamonds because there's so many of these fake ones out there now. They're real diamonds, but they're made by machines. But the real ones nowadays have got some sort of engraving in
Yeah,
them with laser beams to prove they're genuine. But when you can have a fake one and nobody can tell the difference unless they
yeah.
got a
It's the
magnifying glass.
CZ, right? Or CZ, cubic zirconium. That's the fake diamond. But there are machines that you can test whether it's fake or not. But there's a lot of people who say that diamonds are really like plentiful and that the Beers family, they've kind of manipulated the market for a century. And
Yeah, well, I think that that's got to be true. You want to create, you don't want to flood the market. You want to create a rarity. So I'm quite sure they've held back
yeah,
a lot of stock, and I'll bet there's a vault full of the things somewhere.
yeah, it's like Rolex as well. 20, 25 years ago, you could go into a Rolex store or a jewelry store and you see a watch that you like and you could buy it and take it. Now you have to pre-register and then you might get it in 2 or 3 years. And I think they're trying to do the same thing with the Rolex watches.
Yeah, I mean it's the oldest game in the in not the oldest, the second oldest game in town when it comes to marketing. Create a perceived rarity, so that those who get it feel that they're privileged. If everyone's got one, you don't feel you've got anything special.
Yeah, yeah. Someone's saying here, Felicia Music. I'm reading your book recommendation, Mario, When Money Dies. I wanted to understand what my mother, aunt, and Oma were dealing with as they went back to Germany in 1920 and were there until 1929. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, uh, until maybe recently, I think still a lot of Germans know about that because their grandparents told them about it. And maybe they might not be alive anymore, but they passed on the stories to their children.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why the up until the euro came into existence, anyway, German mark was the strongest currency in Europe.
Yeah, because they're very aware of inflation and how it could, yeah, it could create a lot of problems. And I think Germans are still one of the biggest private holders of gold a after Indians. Uh,
Well, Germany is seen by the world as a much safer bet than, say, France. The interest rate on the bonds in Germany, let's say a 10-year bond, is a French government bond yields significantly more than a German government bond because of the perceived safety. People are saying, I trust Germany will give me back something. If it's not the euro, they'll give me back German marks if the euro fails, but at least it'll be worth something. But if I get back French francs if the euro fails, well, what's it going to be worth? Almost nothing.
Yeah, I think the 10-year French bond is yielding 80 basis points more than the German bond. And during the sovereign debt crisis 2011, 2012, a lot of people were buying the German government bonds, even though it was in euros, because if the euro collapsed, by having German government bonds, you're actually buying Deutschmarks indirectly.
Yep.
Wojak is saying, did you get through the Count of Monte Cristo? I'm almost finished, Wojak. Yeah, it is a great book. I mean, I've seen some of the films they made out of it, but the book is really, you must read the book. It's a great story. Have you read that, Clive?
Well, I think I was forced to read it at school, but unfortunately, I was probably too young to enjoy it properly. And I've seen snippets
Great.
of the
Such a,
movies.
yeah,
So
it's such a thick book. Like when you're young at school, it puts you off. Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
There
Ralph,
were there are a lot of stuff they made us read at school, from Shakespeare to um, what's that guy who told the Canterbury Tales? I forgot his name now.
Chaucer.
Chaucer, yeah. I mean, incomprehensible stuff to a teenager.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think only my sister liked Shakespeare as a teenager for some reason. But Ralph on the right, Mario, what are your thoughts on the current gold to oil ratio? Well, I think it just proves that because in the 70s, I remember the 70s and early 80s, we were told that we had inflation because oil prices went up. And I believed in that. But when I started learning about money and fiat currency in the early 2000s, then I realized that all that was like a cover, because the reason we had inflation in the 70s was because Nixon detached the dollar from gold and they started printing. So what the oil to gold to oil ratio is telling me is that we have a currency crisis, and even oil is going to be cheap for people who have gold. And the
Well,
other,
well,
it
you go on,
helps
Renee.
the mining companies, right, Clive? I'll let you.
So, the oil price this year has been heading downwards generally. It has its ups and downs, but the broad direction this year has been down, 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 which tells me that the world economy is slowing. But at the same time, we've got the gold price rising, which means that each ounce of gold buys you more oil than it did the month before.
Yeah.
So why are people? So is kind of a distinction. We've got it's not a generalized rise in commodities we've got a generalized move into gold because gold is seen as a monetary metal, and central banks are supporting it, and they don't, central banks literally do not seem to care what price they pay for gold. They're not price sensitive because whatever they buy the gold with, they're printing it anyway, and they got loads and loads of dosh. So, but on the other hand, oil is much more concerned with by how much people are using it, and people must be using less unless they're producing more of it for the price to be going down.
Oh, Clive, I've also done because I think it was Incrementum. Incrementum, they did a Porsche to gold ratio. So I wanted to know Porsche 911 price to average gold price ratio in British pounds. So back in 2000, you needed 360 ounces to buy a Porsche 911. And I updated it today to the not the average price, but I put the current price, and it's 36. So I think this is telling us we have a currency crisis, and um, I'm not saying I want to buy a Porsche because I think it's too flashy anyway. In this current environment, you don't want to be flashing things around, do you, Clive?
I have no desire to buy a flash car, even though if I wanted to buy a Porsche, I could. But we have neighbours who've got Teslas and things, which I think are fairly flashy. I've just got an ordinary Skoda, so it's nothing special.
Endurorama, Mary, how can you tell the difference between which symptom is happening, currency collapse, precious metals bull market, or crack up boom? When will it become evident that it's a currency collapse? Well, that chart I showed earlier about, let me bring it back up. The price of gold compared to the price of gold in Weimar, Germany. I mean that's one of the symptoms. The other one is political instability, political assassinations. I mean, we've had those, not just in the attempts in the U.S. I mean, Charlie Kirk, and also in, I think it was Slovakia. They tried to kill the president there. Uh, I mean, everywhere there are symptoms, and they all happen at the same time. Division, a lot of debt. So this is the one that is concerning for me, the disturbing resemblance. I mean, this chart is very much, once we broke through 2000 here in, I think it was, Clive, was March or April of last year. It's almost gone up in a straight line, just like this chart.
Mary, you may remember in our very, very first video about the global currency reset, we
Yeah,
talked about something called the melt up.
yeah.
And
Crack up boom. Yeah,
the question now we use the crack up boom, but the question was, what will be the symptoms that we're heading into a currency reset? And I said, I'm not sure whether I said 5 years or 10 years, but I said the symptom will be the price, or we will have a melt up. The price of everything will be rising rapidly, and that I think we don't have the price of retail goods rising, but the price of things which are hard to lay your hands on are rising rapidly. So if you want to own a beautiful rare item, including a rare car, or you want to have a rare painting, or you want to have some gold, or you want some Bitcoin, doesn't really matter, or some silver, which is rare, all of these things are rising in price very, very rapidly and at unusual rates.
yeah. I've written this a while ago. It's from Ludwig von Mises's Human Action, page 428. So I put this here. Are we there yet? I think we're getting closer and closer. And he says, but then finally the masses wake up. They become suddenly aware of the fact that inflation is a deliberate policy and will go on endlessly. A breakdown occurs, the crackup boom appears. Everybody is anxious to swap his money against real goods, no matter whether he needs them or not, no matter how much money he has to pay for them. Within a very short time, within a few weeks or even days, the things which were used as money are no longer used as media of exchange. They become scrap paper, and I put here scrap digital entries. Nobody wants to give anything away against them. It was this that happened with the continental currency in America 1781, with the French mandat territoriaux in 1796, with the German mark in 1923. It will happen again when the same conditions appear. If a thing has to be used as a medium of exchange, public opinion must not believe that the quantity of this thing will increase beyond all bounds. Inflation is a policy that cannot last. And I think, Clive, that could be happening in Japan very soon because they've got this new prime minister who wants to keep inflating.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's already happening in Japan because you only have to look at the value of the Japanese yen against gold and see
Yeah.
how many extra yen you have to pay to buy gold today than you did a week ago or a month ago or a year ago. And of course, you mentioned a few examples of countries, but as we walk around the world, we'll find that country after country had their meltdown. Starting not just starting, but one of the earlier ones was the ancient Roman coin, the denarius, where emperor after emperor found it expedient to reduce the amount of silver in the denarius until it got to the point where the merchants would no longer take it as a silver coin; they would only take it as if it was made of copper. But you can look around the world. You can find all kinds of places. You know all about Brazil because your parents came from were there at some point. But look at Turkey. We're in a high inflationary environment in Turkey. Why? Because there's been too much interference with the central bank. India has got rid of its high denomination notes, wiping out two-thirds of the currency in a fell swoop, at the expense of the holders of paper notes.
Yeah.
Um, what happened in Cyprus? Everyone with a bank account more than 100,000 euros found the majority of what was in excess of 100,000 was confiscated in a one-off government action. And
They gave him
it,
like equity in failed banks, right?
Yeah, and then then there was the Greek sovereign debt crisis. I myself being a personal sufferer, where the between Greece and the ECB, they decided that it was no longer one man, one vote on the Greek bonds. It was the European Central Bank gets all the votes, and they could decide on my behalf that I get nothing and they get the lot. In other words, I volunteered to be screwed.
Yeah, so yeah, that tells us, Clive, that central banks and governments they're not going to do what's good for the general public. They're going to do what's good for them to stay in power, and that's why you need to be your own central banker and have some gold and silver. Just one more super chat here before we tune off for the night. He says, "Thank you, Mr. B. Interview with Martin Armstrong would be great. Top man, Mario. Top channel. Top followers, people." Yeah, I've tried it. I've contacted him a few times, but I haven't got any reply. But I will try to get in touch with him. Clive, any final words for the viewers
Uh,
before we sign
Yeah,
off?
just a quickie. The day before yesterday, on Saturday, I put up a video on my channel, Clive Thompson, which you can find on YouTube. It's how to make money in the stock market using a particular technique involving investment companies. And it explains in words of one syllable what types of investment companies you have to look for and how you can make money. And it's not 100% guaranteed, but it's as near as I can find to a free lunch when it comes to making money in the stock market. And for me, every time I've done it, and I give lots of examples of where I've done it, it works. It worked perfectly, and I'm working on two examples at the moment, which I talk about in the video, which I think will work out in the future. So anyone who's interested in finding about how to make money in the stock market, if you're not very experienced, there's a way involving investment companies. Do watch that video. It's on the Clive Thompson channel.
Yeah, and I would subscribe to the channel too. Clive, thank you for your time. Thank you, the viewers, for being here and participating. And I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye. Uh, okay, I've ended the stream.